Hello, hello. Okay, we're going to start this podcast off with a game. This game, I'm going to share my screen for everybody watching, is called Imposter Words, as is the title. There are 3 words here, and only 2 of them are real. Only 2 of them. So discuss amongst yourselves which 2 you think are real, or if you prefer, which one is the imposter?
Tricky. Would you mind saying them to us? That they're kind of little on my screen.
Sure. Okay. The first is Widdershins. 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 Number 2, Tittynape. 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 The third one is Borborygmus. 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 Borborygmus.
Wow.
Okay, my first initial gut here is Widdershins. I don't think that's real. What about you, Mama?
I like Widdershins, and to me, it's probably a body part, and Tittynape as well. But that third one, however it's pronounced, Borborygmus, that is suspect to me.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, we have 1 vote for Widdershins as the imposter word and 1 vote for Borborygmus as the imposter word. All right, here is the truth. Widdershins is a real word, and it means in the direction contrary to the sun or counterclockwise.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was far off. I thought it was a body part, but
I was suspicious for no reason.
Hey?
Borborygmus is also a real word, believe it or not. It is the rumbling sound made by the stomach.
Whoa!
Oh!
And could you just see that word being like onomatopoeia? Isn't that the name of the word that makes the sound?
Yes, that's what my stomach sounds like.
Yeah, so now we know that Tittynape is actually the imposter word. It is I just chose a real word and misspelled it. It's the misspelled version of Tittynope, which is a small quantity of something left over. Maybe that's where the word nope came from. Nope.
Oh, nope.
To mean nothing or very little of something. A small quantity of something left over. There's just a little Tittynope.
Mama, you and I both got. We got by that imposter.
We did.
Tittynape. It just sounded so natural. Tittynape.
Yeah, I just changed 1 letter.
We can be too confident.
Yeah, we can be too confident.
We can, definitely.
In the prefix of our podcast, we want to continue talking about the power of words, but we're highlighting prefix because the prefix has so much power. When you think about it, you could start with a word that's very positive, something very encouraging, like social. You put anti on it, now it's antisocial. Mm-hmm. You could start with construct, and then you could put a D on it, and it's deconstruct or reconstruct. You could start with something very, like ability, and then you put in front of it, and it's inability. So though the root doesn't change, the prefix changes the direction of the word.
Makes me think of the rudder of a ship.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's in the back, but for the prefix, and it's the rudder of the front of the word, steering the direction.
Literally drives it. So when I did a little Zoom on Google, I realized that the prefix also refers to a coding word that's used in computers. So that kind of makes sense that it would change the direction of the code.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. And so little too.
I
They
know. They're
have the power of
tiny.
touch.
Yes. Now, the root is still there, but you've got the force of another direction. So,
Mhm.
speaking of direction and power, Tori, what have you been doing recently with the power of your words?
Oh, where's my prefix? My prefix. One thing I've been doing lately is slowing my roll and just taking a little more time to respond and letting other people's words sink in more before I go to reach for my words, and letting the gap of wordlessness be a little bigger, just slowing down. And yeah, that's one thing I've been doing. Another thing I've been doing with my power of words is I've been incorporating a little more gender fluid language with my family, who are very traditional. I consider myself non-binary, and I've been kind of slowly flowing the non-gender language into my family a little bit. So that's another thing that I've been doing with the power of my words. Another thing is making this podcast. This is a huge flex of the power of words because this podcast is all about words. So yeah, what about you, sis? What have you been doing with the power of words? What's your prefix?
Wow, what have I been doing with my prefix, the power of words? Well, first of all, I want to say, sis, I really loved what you said. Not that we're here to validate everything that each other says. I'm sure we'll probably disagree, but it does sort of remind me of my own journey of trying to be more intentional with words at work. Gender fluid language is super important. Um, and I think in my my profession as a teacher, I need to make sure that I do just acknowledge all genders. And
Mm-hmm.
so that takes practice, and it takes slowing down. Exactly. And intention, of course. It takes intention. So as we've been talking about this podcast and formulating what we want it to look and sound like, it's brought an awareness to my mind of intentionality, choosing my words carefully. And so I think that's what I've been trying to do, is kind of, in the words of Marty Rainey, if you don't know who that is, well,
Homestead Rescue.
Homestead Rescue, really, really remarkable man who
Yeah.
sets a very, very high standard for how we talk. And I think that's where I've been trying to incorporate more intention, is trying to say what I mean, but not being a meanie face
Oh.
when I say it. And that, well, I have a 3-year-old, so I see it on her face immediately when I've been mean.
Mm.
And she usually doesn't deserve it. I can't think of a moment when she does deserve that. She
Mm.
deserves a patient, kind, respectful mom. And so that's what I've been trying to do with my prefix, with the power of my words. And of course, as a teacher too, because besides being intentional and conscientious about my gender neutral language, it's also saying what I mean, but meaning not being mean when I say it. So, yeah.
I love that, Sissy. That's beautiful.
Tori, one thing that you mentioned about timing and slowing your roll really resonates with me, because for me, in a conversation that could be tense or that could escalate, that one thing, slowing down, de-escalates. And I think it starts with me, because I purposely don't have a reaction. I just sit And then I try to run an internal dialogue that says, you don't have to react to this now. And there's no rush. You don't have to come up with an answer now. So I take the pressure off myself, and it works in so many situations. I think it's an underused tool, really.
It also, if you're in a heated conversation with someone, it forces the other person to slow down too.
Exactly.
Or become so worked up that they wear themselves down because you're calm and peaceful and quiet. And then they've run out of all the words that they could possibly say.
They might just fizz.
Exactly.
They might just go off into fizzing.
Like one of those twist up toys that you just have to let it run out and do all of its hops, and then, okay, the battery's dead.
Yep, lost all your momentum. Yep.
There's another situation with teaching, or in any situation where you're speaking a language to someone that is not their primary language. And I've seen this in my family. It puts so much pressure on a non-English speaker to speak so rapidly that, especially if you're trying to communicate instructions or where something is in the kitchen, and I've seen it on my family's faces where they want to do what I'm asking them, but I'm talking too fast and I lost them. And that's a bad feeling. That's not a good feeling.
No. Well, that takes us to the root.
All right. So in the next segment, we call it the root, and usually we'll have a root word, but today our root word is less of a word because it's our first episode. So we just want to introduce ourselves to you. If you haven't gathered by now, we are related to each other. And my name is Tori. And like I said earlier, I'm a non-binary. I have a lot of different names that you could call me, some of which are millennial, multi-trades person, artist, writer, sibling, lover, friend. I'm also an autodidact, which is a fun word. That means a self-taught person. It's also fun to say, autodidact. Go for it.
Autodidact.
Autodidact.
I'm also a logophile, which is a lover of words. And that's why I'm here today with my mother and my sister. I am the fourth child in our family, and my sister is the oldest. And my mom has always referred to Tev and I as the Alpha and the Omega. I'm not quite sure why I'm the Omega because I wasn't the end. Lots came after me. But I am the baby for my mom.
Does that make you the suffix? And I'm the prefix? Sorry, that's tangential.
I think that is accurate.
Or maybe it's more like a punctuation mark.
Well, my family has always said that the family wasn't complete until I was born, and I came a minute after everybody. There's a little bit of a time gap, and they've also said that I was like the punctuation to the end of the family sentence, and that's great. I think I can choose any punctuation I want to be. Like, am I an exclamation? Am I a question mark? But I actually meditated on this whole idea of a family being a linguistic thing, a family being a sentence, and by them calling me the punctuation, it's kind of identifying like, you're a little different. You're a little different because over here we've got morphemes, which is another fun word for word. A morpheme is the smallest a word can be, so kind of like a root. And then you add other morphemes to a morpheme. Word is one morpheme. Wording is two morphemes. Anyways, there's some nerd for you. But anyways, my family identifying me as a little bit other. We've got our morphemes and we've also got punctuation here. And there was a moment in my healing journey where I just acknowledged that I am different from my family. And even though I am different, there's actually a lot of value and purpose to punctuation. Like, what does punctuation do? It organizes a group of words. It clarifies a group of words. Punctuation is used to emphasize meaning and take meaning even deeper. And punctuation also offers a cadence or a flow to go through and express that particular sentence. So there's actually a lot of expression and need for punctuation, even though it's not the traditional word. It's kind of the language outside of the words. So I just wanted to share that. That's a little bit about who I am, and say that if there's anyone listening that kind of feels a little bit different or like they're a black sheep in their family sentence, maybe you're just the punctuation, or maybe you're not even in the sentence at all. Maybe you identify as like an ampersand, like the and symbol, or maybe like the paragraph symbol where you're signifying a clean break, something new, a totally new chapter, maybe, anyways, that's my share. The punctuation has spoken.
But I would argue something. As an
Okay.
English language teacher, conversations I have with my students on a pretty regular basis, without punctuation, without the correct use of punctuation, your meaning is lost. The meaning of what you have written, what you have put on paper, is lost. If you don't have a full stop where there needs to be a full stop, where you don't have that em dash where you need an em dash, or commas to offset a modifying phrase, you really need to know how to wield your punctuation marks correctly. And as a non-binary, you also have the freedom to be different punctuation marks. So let's just leave it at that.
Can I give an example?
Yes, please.
So one of my favorite t-shirts alludes to what Tevi has shared about how essential it is. You can go from "let's eat, Grandma" to "let's eat, Grandma."
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And there's a grandma. It's a very different message.
Yeah.
No, that's right. It's the difference between
Life and death.
vegetarians and yeah, life and death. I was going to say cannibalists, but yeah, that family.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I'm Tevia, also known as the Alpha. I guess my dad likes to say that I opened the Matrix. So yeah, I'm Tevia. My nieces call me Tita. My little girl calls me Mama. I have also been called Bossy, know-it-all. Not by anyone in my family, of course. No.
No one here.
I have on occasion. No one here. No. I have been called too loud. I have been identified as a scene stealer, which was painful but true, and I needed to hear that. But I'm also called Mrs. T. My students call me Mrs. T. My family and the people closest to me call me Tev. I am a mama, a sister, a daughter, a teacher, a thespian. I love the theater. I love to read. I love to write. I like to do any kind of creation thing. If it involves creating, building, trying something new, I don't know if there's a word for someone who is like always wanting to try new things, even if it means they don't finish the thing that they've just tried. Oh yeah, that might be my ADHD showing. Yeah. I also love to be out in the garden, and I'm a general peace seeker. I like peaceful, calm places. I like to be in the kitchen. I love to bake. Love to bake. My way of loving people is bringing something delicious to the table, and I really enjoy watching people enjoy my food. Just give me like good constructive feedback. Yeah. I find myself enveloped in words every day as an English language and literature teacher. I teach 8th, 9th, and 10th grade this year. Another important reason to mean what you say, but don't be mean when you say it. My life's work is trying very hard not to be an ultra-crepidarian. An ultra-crepidarian is someone who has an opinion that goes beyond their knowledge of something.
Oh. Say it again.
Ultra-crepidarian. Ultra-crepidarian. As my father would say, unsolicited advice. Yeah, we do not need your unsolicited advice. And so, yes, it's true. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't need to say that. Yeah, I am so happy to be doing this podcast with you two Ludi Buns. That's another word that I learned, which is like joyful and affectionate people. Yeah, I'm happy to be doing this with you.
Ludi Buns.
Ludi Buns.
Oh.
What about you, Mama?
Well, I just want to say thank you for joining us for our first episode. And thank you to you two lovely ladies for helping me along the way and being so very patient as the information, what we're doing that is being scaffolded. I told Tori earlier that she's scaffolding this information so that I am able to participate in the technology of it, in all the things. And I'm just delighted. We are family. We love conversations about words. We're not experts on words, but we love them and we believe they're very powerful. So welcome to our podcast, the Logophile Podcast, and our first episode. My name is Willina. I could also answer to Grandma and Mom. Renee would say Mob. WB, Granby, and if you earn the level of trust, I might let you call me Billy. I'm the matriarch. I'm a septuagenarian, wife of 48 years, mother of 4 daughters, grandmother of 4 granddaughters, and recently retired teacher. I have to say that teaching was a passion for me, far more than a job. It was an absolute delight. I loved and admired the people I worked with, the families that I served, and I've developed many lifelong friendships with students. The other advantage I had was choosing the subjects that I taught, which was so energizing for me. I loved science and also understanding yourself and others, that whole genre. So, to be honest, retiring left a sizable hole in my life, in my heart. I actually got depressed, kind of bounced out of that, but really it left a hole. So for that reason and many other reasons, I'm very, very delighted, doubly thankful to be doing this podcast with two of my absolute favorites.
And Billy, we are very happy to have you here.
You did make the grade. Yes, you can call me Billy.
I wouldn't dare.
Yeah, Tevi has.
No, I'm too much of a rule follower.
Not
I
me.
didn't mention that, but I am a rule follower.
You
You
are.
are.
And
You're the Virgo in the family.
yeah. So I'm going to call you by the title that you have earned from your daughter, Mama.
And I'm going to just call it how I see it. And how I see it sometimes is Billy is in front of me, and Billy is who I'm talking to.
So, dear listeners, let's move to the suffix segment of our show, a call to action.
Yeah, we just want to hear from you. We want to know your name. We want to know the names that you've been called. We want to know your favorite words. We want to know the words that you don't like. Or are there any words that you've made up? Let us know. We want to hear from you. Sis, where can they find us?
Well, you can find us here on this podcast, or you can email us at thelogofilepod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram. We are also there at thelogofilepod. You can find us on YouTube and anywhere you listen to or watch podcasts by searching the Logofile Podcast. And be sure to follow us because we have some cute like these space buns. Cute.
Very cute. Very cute.
And exciting things in the works, like some guest interviews, games like, the imposter game,
Yeah.
maybe some other ones too. We have some Logofile merchandise, patent pending. This is a word that we made up for merchandise you purchase. Just say it in one word, merchandise, for our fellow word lovers. If you know anyone that you think would like our vibes, the biggest compliment that you can give to us is your word of mouth. So share us with your friends and remember to say what you mean.
Mean what you say.
And don't be mean when you say it. Bye.
Bye. See you later.